Can you give us a little bit of an inkling towards what you will be talking about?
Well, I won't just be talking. I will be engaging, and I want I want it to be two-way. The subject is nature writing in both literature and poetry, both adult and children's literature, because I think the latter is really important in firing people up at a young age. So what I want to do is do readings from some of my favourite prose and poetry, and I hate to say it, some of my own writings of both, short and succinct pieces, I hope, and really just to explore what I've been doing and how I've related and explored nature writing generally is a huge subject area, and one which I've been heavily involved with for a great many years amongst a lot of other people. And I'd love to actually have some break off regularly and actually have some discussions about how people feel about some of these issues, and in particular people's relationships with nature. My relationship with what? You can imagine a native New Yorker saying, what? Yeah, of course we have a relationship with nature, even if it's just a love of blue sky and wavelets lapping on some Mediterranean shore. We all have a relationship with nature. It's just that we're not very good at thinking about it, let alone discussing it. We don't discuss it. We might discuss the weather instead.
So is that how you gather your relationship with nature, is through writing that helps you to understand your relationship?
Yes, I think it does. I think it helps synthesize my relationship and develop my own understanding with my relationship with nature, which is an incredibly important part of not just my life but my very existence. I get cross with it. It's not something I take for granted. It's not a source of perpetual delight, particularly in winter. I struggle with the English winters, I really do. I'm not alone. You need a strategy to get through the winter. I write.
So there's you hunkered down in the cold.
Absolutely, head down, oblivious to what's going on outside. It's fantastic. Dreaming of spring.
Do you want people to prepare, come along with anything?
It would be helpful if people brought along just their key thoughts as to what really does fire them up, what their views about nature and their relationship with it. And by nature, I also mean wildlife and, wait for it, the biggie, places, both at macro scale, at landscape scale, and micro scale, really local scale, the places that matter most to you, your heartlands, and why. I worked for the National Trust for nearly 30 years, and one of the areas I had considerable responsibility in was in people's relationships with places. It's really important, and again, it's something we don't think about much, particularly in English. The Welsh and the Welsh language thinks about it considerably more than we do. It's a really interesting area.
So the obvious question then to ask you is, why do you choose to live near Tetbury? How does that help your relationship with nature?
That's really key question, actually, because my main heartland is actually in East Hampshire and West Sussex, and I lived for 20 years in the heartland of the poet Edward Thomas, who has been a massive influence in my life. He really has been. And I came here for a job, and I've got rather hefted to Gloucestershire. I've got every right to live here. My father was born in Gloucester, and his mother came from Winchcombe. So I have Gloucestershire roots. But yes, one's place of true belonging, where one really belongs, is phenomenal. I have some roots here, but I've got little heartlands, places I love with all my heart and soul, all over England, Wales and Northern Ireland, and wait for it, Scotland.
What's unique about the Cotswolds and our landscape and nature here?
Absolutely. Well, all landscapes are unique, to be quite honest. Particularly in Britain, where we have such great variability in climate, geology, soils, and actually cultural history as well. But there is a uniqueness about the Cotswold valleys, in particular in the Cotswold grasslands, places like Rodborough, Minchinhampton Commons, where I spend a lot of time and I love them so much. And you know, the deep incised valleys, and I have to confess I love Laurie Lee, not just Cider with Rosie, because I regard him as primarily as a poet, and he wrote some seriously good verse as well. So it's great to be in Laurie Lee's heartland.
Is there anything you're writing at the moment, or anything you're working on?
I'm working on too much at the moment. I'm actually writing my life's work, which is a natural history of the purple emperor butterfly, and I've got to get it finished by the end of March. And it's going to be a cracker. I'm really, really into it. It's not definitive, it's not the natural history, it is a natural history. And hopefully it'll be a springboard by which people will come to understand and appreciate and experience that deeply magical, if grossly immoral and badly behaved butterfly better. Oh, it's not nice. You wouldn't want your daughter.
It's quite intriguing.
You would not want your daughter to go out with a bloke with the morals of a male purple emperor butterfly. No.
I'll look out for that.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, and I'm writing on, and it is actually a fairly serious book. And I'm writing more poetry as well. I write short stories for fun.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Good. Well, look forward to it, and look forward to meeting up with people on the 28th of November.